Autumn is my favourite time to camp, with interesting weather and lots of changes going on. This is the Wye Valley, with one of the world's highest tidal rivers below, 100-metre high limestone cliffs above, and ancient forest all around. Once you've found your campsite, check for dead branches directly above you, unless you fancy being impaled by a branch dislodged by those blustery winds. This is the last time of year I sleep in a hoochie and hammock arrangement. It'll get a bit too cold for this soon. Note that the hammock is set up high in the apex. It will go down a bit when you lie in it, but still protect your back from the whistling winds. It's a very discreet way to camp, and you can still see, hear and smell what's going on around you. Sleep with an inflatable mattress under you, but deflate it and keep the valve open, otherwise you'll be fighting with it all night. Time to go looking for firewood. Don't just gather what's around you, go looking for the best you can get. I always try to find well-seasoned beech for autumn nights because it provides a fair heat and a lot of clear, bright light. Even if it's 30 metres away, it's worth the trip. If you find it with leaves on it, then it probably fell in the summer and it isn't seasoned enough. If you find it with tips on, then it fell in the spring, it's 6 months old and is just seasoned. But really you want to find it like this, characteristically with the bark mainly having peeled off and exposing the smooth wood. This is seasoned for a few years and will burn perfectly, and with the little bark there will be little smoke. Find a pair of trees to use as a fulcrum to break the wood into more manageable lengths. Always push away rather than pull towards you, and always gather as much as you can on each trip. You can also use beech for kindling. Gather a good load of sticks the thickness of a pencil and up to the thickness of your thumb. Then go looking for fine kindling. This is silver birch. Excellent kindling, so gather a good couple of handfuls of matchstick thickness, and more if you need some to restart the fire in the morning. The fungi is birch polypore, sometimes known as razor strop fungus, as the leathery centre can be used to strop the edge of a sharpened blade, removing the fine crystals of steel which would otherwise cause it to blunt more quickly. The squirrels and nuthatches will be trying to beat you to the autumn wild food. Many are well known, but one of the best is much forgotten. And here's a top tip. Sometimes the beech mast falls and it hasn't opened, and you would need a screwdriver to get in at the kernels. If that happens, put the mast in your pocket. The heat of your leg will cause the mast to open, and in half an hour you can pull it out and be left with a pocket full of these delicious small nuts. Eat them slightly roasted. Here's the fire ready to go. A carbon steel knife, a fire steel, a platform of dry fuel, cotton wool pad, a roll of birch bark, and matchstick thin kindling. Light the pad and use it to light the bark. Add the kindling. Once this is crackling, add thicker kindling in a cone arrangement. With well-seasoned beech, you can quickly move to an Indian fire arrangement of big logs rather than slowly building up the thickness of wood. And you can lie long logs over the fire to burn through into two. The Indian fire is the most efficient in terms of fuel use and also the easiest fire to control. Billions of people all over the world use this every day to cook their food. Within 15 minutes, it's settled down into a reliable and versatile fire, used here to roast nuts, heat a tin of soup, and boil water. There are 4,000 fungi in the UK, and 200 mushrooms which are edible fungi. Of these there are 20 which are excellent to eat, and in the remaining fungi there are a number which will kill you. After 10 years taking an extremely cautious approach, I know a dozen I can readily identify and eat happily. The best advice I was ever given was that, in the beginning, leave the ones with the gills out. There are plenty of good mushrooms to eat without gills. Secondly, I would say that once you know exactly what all these terms mean, then you are probably ready to start picking gilled mushrooms. This is a subject on which you must never bullshit yourself about your ability. In the beginning, a little columns guide is great to take out on walks so you can look at fungi but not pick them. Then an edible mushroom guide small enough to take in the field will allow you to properly identify those it's okay to pick and look at in more detail. Finally, a full-blown comprehensive guide will allow you to take specimens you are pretty sure about home to properly identify and eat. Mushrooms grow everywhere, but the best places to look are where there is a change in habitat. Wood to meadow, meadow to river, where a slope meets a road, or another place where a rich variety of nutrients are likely to collect. These are the good edible ones I found. Juicy and no gills on that. Honey fungus does have gills and grows in huge quantities. And for the first time ever, horn of plenty, one of the best. Difficult to spot, and in my case it passed its prime, but I know where it grows now. I arranged this trip to take advantage of the October hunter's moon, so called because it rises so soon after sunset and allows you to continue your activities, hunting or otherwise. The woods are bathed in moonlight, and you can go for a walk with no artificial light. If you begin to notice that there are blue luminous glows in the forest around you, don't get freaked. It's the honey fungus, which has infected tree stumps. Country people used to break it off and line the path to the outside toilet with it. The best thing for me about camping like this is being able to lie quietly in the morning and see what comes strolling by. Always aim to leave no trace that you were ever there. Finally, and as I said, autumn for me is the best camping season of all. I hope this helps you to enjoy it, but do be cautious with the mushrooms.